Welcome to Milan Recording Studios. My name is James Pavel Chakras, and if you're thinking that I'm in a different spot than usual today, you'd be right, because this is the first video I'm filming in my new isolation booth. So today's video kind of has two different topics to it. One of them is going to be the isolation room itself, and the other is going to be this odd little thing I have sitting on my lap. But first, I'm going to start talking about the isolation room because it's the bigger thing here, and I think a lot of my fans might find it to be quite interesting. So first of all, what is an isolation room? Well, in case you couldn't tell by the name, it's meant to isolate sound. Any noise that I make inside of this room will not be heard very well outside of this room, and any noise that happens outside of the room won't be heard very well inside of the room. So it's a really, really cool idea, and it's going to be super, super useful here at the studio. Something else I wanted to get out of the way before we dive deeper into the ISO room is I wanted to give a little apology to my Patreons over on my Patreon page, because I've been talking about this thing for like a week nonstop. I did a post about going to go get it. I did a post after I'd packed it up into the trailer. I made a post when I'd laid down the floor. I made a post when I put up some walls. I made a post when I put up the lights, when I put up the ventilation. I've been posting about this for like a week. So you folks have been probably getting quite bored about that. So I'm sorry if you have been, but if you want to be bored about almost daily posts of behind-the-scenes content at Milan Recording Studios, you can go check out the Patreon page. The link will be down in the description. So, with that out of the way, the isolation room. This particular one is made by a company called WhisperRooms, which is actually located in Tennessee, which is really, really cool. So WhisperRooms makes a wide array of sizes of rooms. They make one small enough to tuck away into a corner, and they make this one, which is actually large enough in its full form to fit my 9-foot concert grand plus some extra space. So what you're seeing here is actually not its full form. There's actually enough, we have the materials to add an extra 3 to 4 feet to the length of the room, but in our current setup right now, we don't have the room to put that there. So we have it shrunk down to 3 out of 4 floor panels, which is still very, very large. There's only a couple of other isolation room companies that exist. The two that I hear the best things about, though, are WhisperRooms and a company in Spain called Studio Bricks. Studio Bricks makes higher end and very, very fancy isolation rooms. I've heard people refer to them as the Ferrari of WhisperRooms, or of isolation booths, but the problem is they're pretty small. The biggest Studio Bricks room I've seen is like maybe a quarter of the size of this room in its full extent. So they're pretty small, and although small isolation rooms are nice, the first one I wanted to get a big one. So here we are. We have a big WhisperRooms isolation room. What's actually cool about this one is that it's double-walled. So essentially you have a room, which is the one I'm in, within a room, which is the outer wall, and then within a room, the building that this is all being contained in. So it's a room within a room within a room, and it was a lot to build. Structurally, it's as sound as a house. It is incredibly strong, and it does a phenomenal job of isolating sound. It's just really, really great. It's got 3 different windows, one in the door and then the other 2 in the windows that are over there. And they're actually like quad pane windows. It's a double pane window on the interior wall and a double pane window on the exterior wall with an air gap in between. So sound does not like to get out of this. It is really, really awesome. Now, what's also cool is it has a few neat features too. I mentioned ventilation. You've got some ventilation holes in the wall. You've also got some really cool LED lights up here in the ceiling. Let's take a look at those. There's 3 different panels here. The red lights that you see are on the rim of that. You can actually customize the color. I'm not going to do it right now, but in the future when I make the in-depth video of this, I will show you the whole gamut of colors that thing can run through. It's pretty cool. But the red is probably my personal favorite color. And then if we pan down to the floor, you'll also see something that's pretty neat. We actually installed this rug here just today. I grew up with Oriental rugs. They were in pretty much my childhood home, and I've grown up with them and become very used to the design and personally love the look of these. I think this rug looks awesome. Let me know what you think. It really brings this place to life and makes it look awesome. What's really neat, though, is we just bought this today, and it was advertised as an 8x10 area rug, and we get it in here, and it turns out it's a little bit short of 8x10, and it fits in here perfectly. Like, just absolutely perfectly, and that just makes it amazing to me. So I like the design. I think it looks really great. Now, you might notice that the walls of this ISO room are kind of bare. A lot of the times you'll see fancy acoustic tuning packages on the walls of these, and I've got those coming. I actually just pretty much built this structurally. It was completed yesterday, as of making this video. So we're still working on stuff, and if you saw the cable management mess up there in the corner when I showed you the lights, that bugs me as much as it bugs you, and I'm going to be working on fixing that probably tomorrow. So we're going to be fixing that and putting up some acoustic tuning packages, some really cool colors and stuff when that comes in. So it's still not quite done, but structurally it is complete, and isolation-wise, it is doing a really great job. I'm going to probably do an in-depth video of it later on and show you some more of its features and run you through the LED lights and get the tuning packages up on the wall, and also do some sound tests with a decibel meter to show you just how effective this is. According to WhisperRoom, the single wall version of their units can isolate roughly 50% of the sound going in or out, and the double wall can isolate roughly 75%. So that's a lot of sound isolation, and whether or not it's exactly 75% really doesn't matter to me, because it does a great job regardless. When there's somebody in here talking, you can't hear them from the outside. It's really awesome. The main reason I wanted this is not so that sound can't escape my studio, it's more so that sound can't get in. Because although the studio is located in a relatively rural area, I think we're under the flight path of an airport, because there always seem to be airplanes flying over, and there's people in their distant fields running tractors and stuff, and mowing the lawn. And so that noise gets into the studio, and I work very hard to get that noise to be at a minimum. But with this room, there's no noise. There is none at all, and that is amazing. So that is the idea of the WhisperRoom isolation booth, and I hope you guys enjoyed that section of the video. And now it's time to move on to whatever in the heck this is on my lap. Now, before I get into this, I'm going to run a quick little audio test, make sure it sounds good, and I'll come back to you when that's done. So this is a accordion. This is a Petosa Cajun accordion. Essentially, it's a diatonic button accordion. And it's really cool. As you can see, it is absolutely beautiful. But what makes it special is that it's made by Petosa. Now, if you know anything about accordions, you've probably heard of Petosa. They're quite a well-known name in the accordion industry, and they've long been known as one of, if not the best, accordion makers in certainly the United States, if not the world. This is the only Petosa accordion I have played, but it is phenomenal, and the other accordions they make sound absolutely incredible, and honestly, I want more. But what makes this really special isn't just that it's a Cajun accordion, which is a really cool subcategory of accordions, but it's actually only one of 20. Petosa only made 20 of these. So that's what's really, really special. And like many extremely limited edition instruments, the build quality and the sound quality of this is phenomenal. As you can see, it is beautiful. Many Cajun accordions are, but in my opinion, this is one of the most beautiful ones I have ever seen. The wood is beautiful, the color scheme is really pretty, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. It's got these really nice buckles on the side to keep it closed. I had those closed so that it wouldn't accidentally make noises when I was messing around with it and holding it on my lap. There's another one on this side, and I'm going to undo that and show you a few of its other features. Now, on the left-hand side here, you have two buttons, which are different notes, and on the back here, you have an airflow button, which essentially just allows air to flow freely in and out of the instrument. Like so. These two buttons over here essentially are your chords, and there's only two chords. Musically, this instrument is very limited, but sonically and visually, it's beautiful. Let me just play these two buttons here and let you have a listen to how it sounds. Check it out. So that's the left-hand side, and that's essentially what it does. And that's really all the left hand does. It's a very simple instrument to play in some regards. It works best for waltzes, but you can also just hold those notes and just pull the accordion in and out and listen to the beautiful tones. Over here we have 4 stops, and these stops are pretty typical for Cajun accordions. All the ones I've seen have had 4 stops, sometimes they're in a different order. This one is in a different order than my other Cajun accordion, which is Hohner. But these stops typically do the same sort of things on all Cajun accordions that I have seen. The first one on this is just essentially I think of it as just being your basic sound. It's kind of a mid-level sound. Have a listen to this. That's is what that one sounds like, and this next stop by itself sounds exactly the same. Have a listen. But if you pair them together, you'll hear that they're actually tuned ever so slightly differently, giving us a chorus effect. Which is a very nice sound. If we turn those off and we pull this one up, it is a bass sound, which is an octave lower than these ones. And the final stop here is a treble stop, which is an octave higher than the original stop and 2 octaves higher than the bass. So you can get some really high notes out of this thing. Together, all 4 of the stops sound very, very nice, and this instrument is just a lot of fun to just noodle around and just have some fun with. It's very easy to play in one sense. Just pushing the buttons and pulling it in and out pretty much will always create a good sound for the most part, and it's really, really great. Now, I am not by any means the greatest Cajun accordion player, but this is just awesome, and I absolutely love this thing, and so I thought it'd be fun to show this to you guys. Like I said, actually I don't think I did say this. I'm actually showing this to you guys because I'm going to be using it in an upcoming video. If you remember the video I did on Milan Recording Studios with Kyle Ball, his song Power, that was a really cool piece, and there's actually 3 other original songs by him that I'm going to be working on, and the next one is called Fall Again, and I'm actually going to be using this instrument in that song. Nothing I'll play in today's video will be what I'll play in his song, but I'll just run this through and show you guys some of the sounds it can make, and I hope that you guys do enjoy it. That's why I really wanted to show this to you guys, because I've got that song in my mind lately, and I'm really gearing up to use to record that song. It's probably going to happen tomorrow as I'm making this video, so I just wanted to show this instrument to you because I've actually had this sitting around for a few months. When I saw it for sale online, I contacted Petosa and I bought it, and they seemed really excited to have me make a video on it, and that was like 6 months ago. So I'm sorry, Petosa, that I just got around to making this video just now, but I love this accordion so much. It's awesome. So that's the sound of the Petosa Cajun Accordion. It's really, really beautiful. It's really, really fun to play. But part of my favorite thing about it is just the build quality. Not only does it sound great, but the build quality of this, the feel of these buttons, and the sound of them too. Is really nice, but just the feel of them and the articulation and the nimbleness behind them is completely different from my Hohner Cajun accordion, and it just feels out of this world. It feels amazing. The feel of these stops and the way they slide in and out is just so satisfyingly high quality. It's just amazing. And the sound that this instrument makes is, in my opinion, absolutely gorgeous. I just love it so much. The only issue I really have with it is just that musically it's very simple. You're pretty much stuck in the key of C. You can kind of squeeze a couple of different chords out of it, but not really. There's just a different version of a G chord. And you can, play a G dominant. So you can get some chords, and if you play the right notes, you can kind of get some minor stuff to work on this instrument, but for the most part, you're really stuck in the key that you're in. It would be really cool to see one of these that's tuned to a minor key so that when you pull in and out, you're getting minor chords and the scale here is just naturally minor or something. That would be really cool, because I love the way like organs and reed instruments, harmoniums, accordions sound when they're playing minor keys. That sounds so dark and evil. But when they're playing happy chords or happy keys, major like this one is, they sound really bright and happy, and that's honestly the whole point of a Cajun accordion, is not to sound dark and evil, is to sound really bright and fun and happy, and I think the Petosa accordion absolutely nails it. It's just so much fun to play. It's a lot of fun, and I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. Speaking of fun, I expect that a lot of fun will be had in this ISORoom in the future. I expect to use it in many different recordings, both with artists coming into the studio and with myself as well. I think it's going to have a lot of potential for the studio, and I think it's going to be a really, really great addition. Easily one of the greatest additions we have made to Milan Recording Studios. It's just going to be so, so phenomenal. So I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. It's a little different from what I usually do. I don't really review accordions that often, but I have gotten a few requests for them, and so this is probably my personal favorite accordion here at the studio at the moment. It's just beautiful. I'm absolutely in the future going to get more Petosa accordions. They make some really killer bass accordions, which are essentially nothing on the left hand and a keyboard on the right hand, and they play notes that go down as low as the lowest notes on a piano, and they sound phenomenal, and they're big and they're amazing, and I want one. However, they're usually around $4,000, so they're quite pricey, but that's because they're high quality, and often they're vintage too. Bass accordions aren't very common. They're not as rare as this. I don't think they've made as few as 20, but there aren't very many bass accordions by Petosa floating around, so that's why they're quite expensive, and not too many people want them, but I want one. So anyway, that's been my review of this Petosa Cajun accordion and a mini review of the WhisperRoom isolation booth. Like I said, I'll have a more in-depth video of that room coming up in the future. I'm going to test out sound levels and all kinds of cool stuff. It's going to be fun. So definitely stay tuned for that. If you want, you can go check out Milan Recording Studios. That's where I'll be uploading the video that I make with this Cajun accordion in Kyle Ball's next song, Fall Again. So definitely stay tuned for that if you're interested in hearing cool original music from really awesome people like that. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to, you can go check out my Patreon page. The link for that will be in the description. So hopefully you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.